Mark, we were just hearing from one of your signings this transfer window in Emerson. How happy are you with the business you've done so far?
Yeah, we knew we had to strengthen midfield. Losing obviously Joey departing, Nico's injury, Jordan's injury, etc. Matt Crooks needed to play or have a consistent run of games. So we knew we had to strengthen the midfield area and add some creativity and dynamism and energy. So delighted to get John and Emerson on board. These boys are technically gifted, see a pass, clever, and will fit straight into the system as we've seen in training already. So very pleased with that.
What's the chances of bringing any more new faces in?
If we can, we will do. But it depends very much on the right players becoming available at the right price in terms of value for the club, which is important. So if we can, we'll move. But it has to be someone adding something we don't currently possess. There's no point in it for numbers' sake. The academy boys are a year older, the likes of Liam Burt, etc., who were on the bench last year, have matured by a year, doing well in the 20s. So if we're short on bodies, we can dip in to the academy, which is tremendous. But as I say, it'll only be if we can add some value to the squad.
What's the situation with Michael O'Halloran?
Michael's one of our players. I've read some bizarre stories that he's off to Hearts. I'm sure Ian would have called me if he knew nothing about it. I'm sure, nor do I. So it's just one of the many stories. Players we're linked with, players that are going out. As I say, in a window, you're never sure what happens. Till the window closes, you're never sure. But as if from our point of view, Michael's one of our players and he'll be involved on Saturday.
Is there anybody who could go out if they see somebody who needs games, needs that opportunity?
He needs the life of a manager or a coach is always that players are banging on the door if they're not feeling they're getting enough pitch time. But then again, we're second at the table and we've had a decent run and section's been okay. But I understand their frustration. They're footballers, they want to play. Our job is to be honest with them, keep communicating with them, keep working hard every day on the training pitch, and hopefully they get their chance and in a position to take it. So Michael's one of many players that wants to play, but I see some of the stories are quite bizarre.
You've made 2 loan signings so far. You see across the city, Celtic are making signings for next year in terms of bringing in the boy Eboué. Is that something you'd like to do, start your planning for next year, so that when you come to the next season's competition, you can perhaps...
Yeah, but this is the same dialogue, the same questions, not being rude, but it's the same type of questions that we can't compare ourselves at the moment in terms of finance. We're not going to go and do that. We're not going to spend recklessly. And it's been a consistent message from the club, which I think is very appropriate, that what we have to do is move at the pace which is right for Rangers. And I understand why you're asking the question, I fully understand that. But from our point of view, we have to try and move shrewdly, astutely, as we can. And as I say, as the club hopefully moves forward and we gain success and the income improves, then we can move forward from there. But we're not gonna spend and put the club in a position they can't afford to be.
Are you able to start your planning for next year? Are you in the position
that
you can do that?
Of course, we plan for the summer, and you see what becomes available. And as I say, in terms of John and Emerson, that was right for us right now. I wanted players who could fit in. We can't be in a situation whereby we want players 6 weeks to settle into our system. I know what Emerson plays. I know Eddie Howe very well. Enormous respect for the way Eddie's teams play. Likewise, of course, John coming through Barca and obviously at Arsenal and the quality he's playing with there and how well he did at Brentford and at Birmingham City. So we've got 2 boys there who can fit effortlessly into a 4-3-3, whatever formation we play.
You're still obviously in a battle for second place and you know the importance of that for the club. Is these 2 signings have been made in an eye to perhaps
it's just as earlier. We've lost midfield players. Unfortunately, Nico, who was getting fitter and fitter and worked so hard, I said at the time that's a big loss to us. To as a player of that technical ability, who sees a pass and the quality he does, was undoubtedly a loss. It'd be foolish to say otherwise. So we're looking to replace that, and January gave us the first chance to do so. In John Terrell, we have a Nico type player. In terms of Cooksey as well, and Joey's situation, then Emerson is someone who can play 4, 8 and 10. He can be a supplier, he can be a creator, etc. So delighted to get him on board, and there's 2 players I think will add value.
With everything you've been saying, if there was to be any more brought in, are we right to assume they would be loan signings as well then?
Probably. Right now, it makes sense for us. January is notoriously difficult. If you're the buyer, then you end up paying inflated fees. It's that time of year because the sellers don't want to lose their best players. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds a bit basic, but that's exactly how it is. So January you can end up becoming very expensive, overspending on players, and not getting the value that you have to seek, and we're seeking value on off the pitch.
I know we spoke about Michael, but not in terms of specific players. Are we likely to see more going out to sort of free up even numbers or anything like that? I know a couple of the young guys have moved on.
Don't forget, we had 21 players in the squad last year. I wanted 23. Dave and I spoke about it with the staff, what we needed, what we felt for the increased intensity of games. Then to lose players like Jordan to injury, very frustrating for him and us, of course. Nico, the Joe situation, so we're down on numbers. So we need to make sure that we have strength in depth to deal with what's coming ahead in the second half of the season, heavier pitches, etc., the toll of injuries. But hopefully now, as I say, the academy's there as well, so no hesitation dip into those young boys.
Just on that note, does somebody have to leave for you to bring that one other player in?
No, it's about us finding players. There's no point adding numbers for numbers' sake. You know, if you're going to lose a player, then the replacement, for example, has to be better, or offer you something different. So no, if we get value and we find a player that we think is accessible, then we'll move.
Do you have a certain position in mind?
Yes.
Are you going to say it?
That's what I'm going to say right now.
Mark, obviously with the break now done and the new guys coming in, I suppose all managers hope this is the case, but do you feel Rangers are going to be a better team in the second half than they were in the first half?
Yeah, you have to hope that. I mean, every manager will say the same. You have to say that your team is gelling and settled. They've showed their fitness and their form in the first half of the season. They're well rested now and they're galvanised for the second half of the campaign. Everyone will say the same. But we're in good shape. We didn't go away. We had the friendly in Leipzig, which was, I'm very happy about that in terms of what it gave to us. And we had the boys had a week off as well. So hopefully they're rested. And we're looking forward to what will be a tough challenge on Saturday.
The Scottish Cup is always important to Rangers, but with what happened in the tournament last season and perhaps the difficulty in getting to the league title this season, has it taken on an increased importance this year?
It's always important. It's the Scottish Cup. It's the Scottish Cup, simple as that. It's a trophy that it's too easy to turn around and say unfinished business from last year. We were frustrated to get in that position and be 10 minutes away from winning the trophy, but we didn't see the job out, so we have got something we'd like to do. But same as a league campaign, it has to be one game at a time. Has to be. The only focus is Motherwell. They'll come here. I'm sure Mark's will be disappointed at dropping a few league points. They'll come here with a very talented squad and they'll play with the freedom, I'm sure, that the Cup offers you. So we have to be ready for it.
Lee Wallace, is he okay?
Lee's fit and well, trained really well this week. Delighted to welcome Lee back.
What's the situation with Joe Garner?
Joe won't be ready yet, but he's probably a couple of weeks away, 2 or 3 weeks away.
Does that make you think twice then about bringing anyone else in if he's a couple of weeks away?
Yeah, you have to look at it. You have to trust, undoubtedly trust the medical staff, but the delivery or the verdict rather from the specialist was very positive. So Joe's done well for us, and we'll wait for him absolutely.
Mark, I'd be interested in your thoughts of Marco van Basten and his proposals or ideas for improving the game. He said bring in sin bins, get rid of offsides, get rid of extra time and penalties, and bring in the sort of ice hockey American style of penalty shootouts. Is that revolutionary, bizarre? What's your thoughts?
All I would say, I think it's positive that anyone in that position, that seniority, is thinking about the game, keeping it fresh. That's whether it's right or wrong. The ideas, I'm not going to say that. That's obviously, but the fact is, he's thinking about keeping the game alive and how can we move it forward? How can we develop the game? And he's putting forward proposals. And if you're not brave and innovative in your thinking, then the game's never going to move forward. But the game's strong. You see from what's happening in terms of investment. And he's thinking about how he can keep it and maintain that interest, so credit to him.
It would make it a very different game though, but then, so did the pass-back rule, so is that why you have to look at it both ways?
I'm sure, as I say, the individual aspects he's looking at or referring to, of course, have to be given due research and everything. I'm sure they will be. But the fact is, he's putting forward ideas. So good luck to him. I wouldn't criticise him, far from it. I think he's a very senior football figure who's just putting forward some ideas that he thinks might help the game. And the rest of the football world should respond to it and at least research it, I'm sure.
Your gut instinct though, would you be in favour?
All of them, no. All of them. Discuss that another time.
Mark, an update on Jordan Rossiter?
Jordan, yeah, he's getting there, he's working, he'll be outside this week. As I say, I get very frustrated because I know his frustration, I know his pain at not being able to play so far as much as he wanted this season. We know what a good player he is. He's an outstanding young talent, so I'm not going to put pressure on him and give you a date of coming back, but the fact that he's going outside very soon is good news, and fingers crossed we see Jordan sooner rather than later.
How can I deadline you would expect to see him back at some stage this season?
Absolutely.
Has talk started with Kenny Miller and Clint Elliott?
All players go on, there's dialogue going on, so there's no doubt about that. So I go above my pay grade, but there's no doubt what we think of the players. As I say, all those conversations, all the players and their agents go on throughout the season.
How long are you hoping to give that? Are you hoping to tie it up quite soon?
No, as I say, the dialogues go on, and we just keep the conversation going. Simple as that.